Okay, looking at the back of this, the last half. Now we get into some that have division. So when you're dividing, all that means is that this, if it's on the top, it's going to move to the bottom. Bottom, it's going to move to the top. So remember, you could rewrite this as a x plus 2 over 1, and those would swap. So that x plus 2 is just going to move to the bottom. So what I need to do here is factor out this one, and we should get to 2 times 2 and 2 plus 2 gives me 4. So my factors would be x plus 2 times x plus 2. And then on the bottom, that x plus 3 is going to be down there. And there's going to be an x plus 2 that moved down there with it as well. So now we're ready to cancel. And I've got x plus 2 and x plus 2 that cancels. And the rest will be left. So my answer is going to be x plus 2 over x plus 3. And now when I've got terms on both the top and bottom, what's going to happen is they're both going to swap sides. So as we go and start factoring all this out, I'm going to take it and I'm going to swap the sides kind of as we go. And so when we are factoring this out, we had one that was similar here, it was a negative 6. And so what I ended up with is for negative 6, I would have a negative 3 and a positive 2. And that gave me x minus 3, x plus 2. And so when I divide that 2 back out, that gives me an x plus 1 and a 2x minus 3. So we'll start out with 2x minus 3 and x plus 1 for that. Now I'm going to go ahead and...
Morning, sir.
Morning. So we're going to let's go ahead and take care of this one on the bottom first. And it looks like I'm just going to be able to pull out a 2. And then everything else is going to kind of have to stay. So I have x squared plus 4, which looks like difference of squares, but remember it's not a difference. So that's going to have to stay as x plus 4 because you got a plus sign, not a minus. And now we're just making sure that everything switches to the place where it needs to be. So it doesn't matter which one you do first. I've got this 2x squared plus x minus 6. So we can work that one out. Get a negative 12. And something that's 1 apart that multiplies to get 12 would be 3 and 4. Since the b is positive, the bigger number is positive. And so I'm just going to have x minus 3 and x plus 4. And just remember, I need to pull a 2 out in order for it to work out. So I'll take and divide both of those by 2. And the 3 won't divide, so that moves up. And the 4 does divide. And so this one, remember, is moving down to the bottom. So I've got a 2x minus 3 down here and an x plus 2. And now my last one, I've got 2x to the 4th minus 32. So I already know that'll divide by 2 to give me 2x to the 4th minus 16, which, that will give me a difference of squares. And on that, let's see, I could do difference of squares there. So instead of rewriting the whole thing, we're just going to replace that and say that's x squared plus 4 and x squared minus 4. And then I've got one more time where we've got the difference of squares for x squared minus 4 would be x plus 2, x minus 2. Okay, so we've done a little bit of moving around here, taken and canceled a few things out, but I've finally got it all split up. And so I'm going to look for things that are the same. So on the top, I've got a 2x minus 3, and down there I've got a 2x minus 3. I have an x plus 1. Oh, I'm not seeing x plus 1. There's a 2 here, so that 2 can cancel out with that 2. There's an x squared plus 4, and an x squared plus 4. And then I've got x plus 2, x plus 2. And so that looks like I've got an x plus 1 and an x minus 2. So my fully simplified answer would be x plus 1 and x minus 2. Okay, so then you get down to one like number 7. And so let's remember order of operations. So I'm not going to multiply first. This is not going to combine with that one first. Division is going to happen first. So division means that I'm going to flip these two, and these two are going to stay. So as we go through, do my best to keep that organized into all of my different sections. So what I'm going to do is, instead of going through all of this, I'm going to pause the video and get this factored out for you. And then we'll look at the canceling. Because all of these, it looks like I have 2 that I'm factoring regularly, got a sum of cubes, difference of squares. I'm going to pull a 2 out of there. I'm going to factor this one just normally using a process, and then we'll see about canceling. Okay, so we've got this all factored out and flipped around, and I'll go over real quick what happened. So right here, we did the house top and got 6. That ended up as 2 and 3. So dividing that by 2 to pull the 2 out, we got x plus 1 and 2x plus 3. On the bottom here, that ended up as 12, which was 3 times 4. Dividing out, that gave me a 2x plus 3 and an x plus 2. Then for my one in the middle, and it might be beneficial when you get larger ones like this to kind of keep them split up, so you know what part is getting flipped and what part's not. But when I did difference of cubes, I got x plus 1 and x squared minus x plus 1. And instead of factoring that out into the 2 factors, putting it there, because I've noticed up here, I've got the same trinomial. So if I've got the same bigger chunk, I'm going to go ahead and leave it to where I can cancel those out. So this difference of cubes ended up on the bottom here. And for the difference of squares here, I had x plus 2, x minus 2. Again, this multiplying, I left it the same, so it stays up top. And this last one, I were able to pull out a 2, and so I got 2 times x minus 2. So we're going to go through, check and cancel. So I see I've got an x plus 1 here and an x plus 1 there. Those will cancel out. 2x plus 3 down here, 2x plus 3 up here. And I've got an x plus 2, x plus 2. Those cancel out. X squared minus x plus 1 down here. Got 1 up here. Then I've got an x minus 2 here, and x minus 2 here. So what's happened is everything's canceled out. I've got a 2 down on the bottom. So that means I'll put a 1 up there to hold its place. So 7 actually simplifies down to just 1 over 2. So it's a lot of steps, but if you take it a piece at a time, factoring those out, and then once you have it set up to where you can cancel, you get sometimes a very simplified answer, sometimes not as simplified. Then from there, you could, like on number 6, if we needed that back in the form of a trinomial, we could do that. We could use that then to find different values of what x would be or what y would be if that was turned into an equation. And then, of course, on number 7, if you're using this for finding ratios of something, height, volume, knowing that everything is able to cancel out and your ratio is just 1/2 no matter what, gives you a lot of things you can do and makes your equations a lot simpler if you're able to just move it down to that.